In this video, I'll show you guys how to change the front brakes here on the Toyota Prius C. I will be changing the front pads, and I'll also show you guys what you need to do in order to go ahead and change out the rotors. So I have a 21 millimeter here on my impact. I will remove the tires here, and if you guys need videos on how to lift up vehicles, I'll leave you guys plenty of links at the end of the video and also in the video box down below. If you're doing just the brake pads, all you need to do is work on these two 14 millimeters, and I normally do the bottom one first, swivel it up, and then I'll go ahead and do the top one as we need to grease these pins. Go ahead and swivel this up. What I like to do is keep this out of my way, so I'll use one of these hangers here and just grab this and use a bungee to keep this all in place. This is the brake spreader tool that I use, as it's really easy. And before I start compressing the piston, what I like to do is go and crack the top of the brake fluid reservoir. Don't leave it off because moisture goes in there. Just want to crack it a little bit because we're going to be pushing a lot of fluid back up. And this is a great time to actually do a visual inspection on all the parts. You want to make sure your boots are not torn, as well as the guide pin boots. I'm going to go ahead and remove this. So I like to turn these a few times to break off all this crud that builds up over the years. And just slowly take your time. And you want to pull this off here first. Get this pin out. And we're going to clean this pin and re-lube it before I put it back in. The boot is intact and there's no rips, and this goes in this direction back in brake cleaner. To remove the brake pads, it's really easy. They just swivel out of place, so they're going to swivel out like that, and the new ones will just swivel back in place in the same manner, just like that. Reattach the hardware, and this already had this hardware included, and the brake pads that I'm using are actually better quality. So the hardware is actually attached to the back. I have attached this up here. And in case you wanted to change out the rotors, you need to remove this 17 millimeter here and here. And this whole entire bracket will actually come off. Then the rotor will just slide off and you put the new rotor back in. If you want to go ahead and replace the hardware, you can. My hardware actually looks to be in good mechanical function, as I've already done the other side. And when you buy a nice set, it does come with good working hardware like this. And for the purpose of this video, I'm going to show you guys how to remove the brackets here. So I undid the 14 millimeters here, bolts on the back. Sometimes these will walk on you, and this is a 17 on here. Go ahead and get this mounted up somewhere. Undo these 17s back here. And now this should just come off. You got to give it a few tacks sometimes. Hit the front side here. And if you're not going to reuse it, you could hit it from this side. I am going to reuse this rotor here. And these do get seized, but yours would just pull straight out. And I'm not going to go damage mine because I'm going to reuse it. However, this is how you do it. Slides off. Just make sure you clean up the area that you've touched with some brake cleaner here. And now let me go ahead and reassemble this whole thing. Everything's going to get a nice cleaning. I'm going to go ahead and reinstall everything. This is the upper pin. I am using this brake parts lube right here. This is the lower pin. You don't need to put too much, and just work it around. You want to swivel this into place. The top should have that little hardware piece, and that's how it goes in. I'm going to install the opposite side as well, and the parts should be all lubed up. And just take your time and swivel them into place and make sure that they're straight and avoid touching the front of the brake pad. With both pieces back in the actual bracket, I'm going to go and put this in place now. Go ahead and torque everything down. Lube up the areas that are going to touch the brake pads. And if you're new to this, get yourself some of this blue thread locker, and you do not want to use the red stuff as it's really hard to take off. And on some of these caliper bolts, I like to actually just apply a little tiny bit. And when you're tightening up the top one, this will walk on you. This is a 17 millimeter, and go ahead and torque it down. I'll display the torque specs for you guys on the screen. Go ahead and pump the brakes. And don't forget to retighten the top. And as always, be extra careful when you are first driving. Go ahead and take it on a very slow drive. And after you confirm that you have brake pressure, go ahead and set the brakes. I'll leave you guys the brake tips playlist at the end. Thank you so much.